everybody, and welcome back to the Escape. It's been a while. Nate, yeah, how long's it been? Long enough?
can't remember. It
Well,
was
we
past
need to
yesterday. I can't remember.
yeah, it's like we always like we're gonna do a show. Yeah, we're totally gonna do a show, and next thing you know, it's been like 3 or 4 weeks. Like, oh damn it! But we're back, and we have friends.
Yay!
Yay! According to your bio, you're uncle, snowboarder, and idiot. That
Yeah.
sums it up pretty well?
Yeah, I've rewritten that bio about 150 times, but I think I've settled upon those three things.
Yeah, that's what we just go with the KISS method. We're gonna keep it simple.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's hard, like, because I I rewrite it so much. Like, thank God nobody notices, but it's just like nobody reads it. But yeah, I think that sums it up. I think I might leave that for at least 2 weeks before I change it.
Right.
You have to go into a focus group and like really workshop it.
I'm gonna have to ask people what they think. Yeah, I don't. It's such a. I don't know what you're supposed to put in those things, so I just keep putting new things. But one of these days, I know. Like I used to have, it used to be different, and then someone did read it, but only one person ever noticed. Like I put something that I thought would make people laugh, and only one person ever paid attention to it. So the original focus group was not successful.
Yes.
Yeah, that's worse. Like when you we were talking about video editing just a few minutes ago. It's like you spend like 4 hours on like this one little thing in a video, and no one ever pays attention. You spend so much work on this little tiny thing, and no one even. You're like, well, damn, okay.
Yeah, nobody
why I even bother?
Yeah, I've done that with videos where I'm like, I'll include one tiny snippet where I'm like, this will be the best part, and no one cares.
Not even a blink. Not even anything. So
For
but
Night of the Chipmunks, we did a new cover, and it's going to be on our trade paperback. And we were messing with it, and my son, he's 10. He goes, "Look, there's a smiley face," and it's like the most grotesque. There's a chihuahua with blood dripping down and like a pile of skulls, and he's like, "Look, there's a smiley face." There's a little smiley face. So we did a contest of like, if you find the smiley face, you get a free special comic. Only one person actually like participated. It was sad.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I that's why I don't do things like that. I'm worried about the lack of engagement that might become.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's so funny. Yeah, that trade paperback looks cool though. Like I saw that. That's nice.
They're at print right now, so we should have them by next week.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you crowdfunded that one?
Yeah, I mean we paid for it out of pocket up front, and then we're trying to make money back. We have a wonderful Canadian gentleman named Jeff Monk who is working on the first issue for Series 2 called Chihuahuas from Hell.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. And you're still going? Are you going around to comic book festivals or what do they call them?
Conventions, Comic Cons.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm deep in it. I know what it's called.
Yeah, we are. We're running that whole gambit. We're in stores and doing the crowdfunding. So it's a slow, messy trail. But like you just said before, is that you're waiting for the people to come to you. You just that one thing, and then they come in droves. So
yeah, I think that's what it's all about. It's like waiting for, I firmly believe like you don't reach to your audience. You just keep putting out what you do, and eventually it finds the audience. The audience finds you.
Yeah.
And that's like the most less crazy making way to go about doing it, because chasing it is just a waste of time and will make you drive you mad, really.
Yeah.
Well, I say, speaking of that, how long have you been doing you're recently an influencer, but how long have you been doing the content creating? So
that's like a good question. A long time, like not in this fashion for as long, but I've been struggling to get any traction on social media for probably, over 10 years or more.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. I did it like by I'd put stand-up clips out, and those are a dime a dozen, and it's hard to get noticed because that's like a very common thing, I think. But yeah, I did it forever, and it didn't really take off till this December, or last December, honestly. So it's I speak from experience. It's crazy. I just kept going, and eventually something worked.
Well, and that's funny thing because you hear, I think so many people think of like YouTubers, social media types, like, oh, they're like overnight successes, and you actually talk to them, be like one of my favorite YouTubers. He's like, literally spoke to no one on YouTube for about 4 years, before you finally, but like you said, you got to keep going. Eventually,
Yeah,
you'll start doing it. But
I eventually what happened was like a friend of mine put out some content that I felt I was kind of like, I've been thinking about doing something in that vein, but I felt silly doing it. And then I saw someone else do it, and I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. And it made all the difference. So it was just me holding me back the whole time, turns out.
oh yeah, if you get in your own head too much, like very recently, I recently lost my job, but I was like, well, I'm not gonna, sit down and do nothing about it. So I was like, took up painting. I was like, well, guess what? I'm a painter now, and if you want to buy painting, let me know. So,
That's cool.
so and that's one of those, like, yeah, just like, but as I'm like typing up the post, I'm freaking out in my head. But I was like, what's the worst? Honestly, what's the worst that can happen? What, the internet makes fun of you? Whatever.
That's what yeah. No, it's true. Like, you think about it, but it's like, you can't overthink it too much, because what's the worst that's going to happen is the internet just doesn't care at all.
Right. Yeah. So nothing changed.
No. And actually, like, if a lot of people notice, more negative things happen.
Right. Well, then I think that's the funny thing. Like, and yeah, you become, semi-famous, and actually, like, everybody's, you're like, oh crap, actually, people are coming after me a little bit now. It's like, well, it's that little double-edged sword where, like, yeah, no one knew me, and it was cool, but now people know me, and now people care that,
Yeah, now they have.
Or they
DMs
or you get hecklers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get hecklers. You get everybody's got critics, right? So
yeah, that's like partially. Actually, it was worse when I posted stand up. Like, that's why I kind of stopped, because people are horrible.
I was just about to say, like, especially for comedians, man, like, hecklers just have to be the worst, because no matter what, there's either a guy who, or a girl who thinks they're funnier than you, thinks they're smarter than you, but they definitely don't have the balls to get up on stage.
No, or they think they're helping a lot of the time.
Wow.
Which is cute, but like, they're usually drunk and think they're helping. So I try to like treat them like children, and not get mad. But people online have the luxury of being anonymous, so it can be brutal.
The keyboard warriors, right?
Yeah, and I hated posting stand-up, because like most people would be like, oh, this sounds like this person, or people would just talk crap to you, and you're like,
right,
no, this isn't helpful. But now people don't really do that as much, because it's hard to talk crap, because I just say random shit online. So it's like not a joke necessarily or whatever, but yeah, so it's like it's a double-edged sword.
I really appreciate that, though. Like following your feed, and some of the stuff you post is just random, like, thoughts, and they're funny, they're like on point, and it is. There's nothing really to like say much about it other than just to kind of like chuckle and.
Yeah, you can't be like, no, like, there's no, you can't like say it's not true, or like, you could say it's dumb, but that wouldn't hurt my feelings. But you couldn't say I stole it, because most of it's just a rambling mess. So it's like, I haven't ripped anybody off, but like, it's funny. Like, I mean, Night of the Chihuahuas, it's funny because that was before I got
I think
actually a
so.
lot of followers.
I think so. I feel like you were. I don't want to say for sure, but I feel like you were at 4,000 or something, maybe 6,000. And it was. I just thought it was cool, like that we had some interaction, and you're a real comedian, and that you wore our shirt up on stage, and I like that was like a huge victory for us. We're like, hey, like he's representing, and then all of a sudden you just like took off, and like, wow.
I'm also not sure how. It's very confusing, but yeah, that was like totally. And I was like, at that point in time, I think I was so thrilled to have 4,000. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And like, every milestone I think now is just a more surreal, stupid thing. I'm just like, I don't know. This doesn't like, it's just a weird number. But yeah, when we first met, I was like, it was just kind of hitting, and I was like, well, this, it's probably going to go away any moment. So we'll see. But
how much of it is it like a priority for you to like create content now? Like, do you kind of like try to do one a day, or
there's a lot of pressure to do it, right? There's a lot of pressure to feed it. And like, but I've been in it long enough now, like in the last almost year, that I know that like it helps to keep feeding the beast, but your gains are going to come from like a small amount of your stuff.
Yeah.
And like, so you can't be too like tied up in it, but I try to post, I try to post, 3 or 5 times a week, because I have noticed, paying attention to the stats, that it benefits you to be consistent. And like, and if you're not,
the algorithm, the algorithm must be fed.
Yes, it's looking for new meat all the time, and it wants it, and it's like, so I think the thing I try not to do is make anything just because I feel like I have to, because then it starts coming out, I can tell it's not good, or like that it's forced. And I'm like, I'll see something later and be like, oh yeah, I was just kind of stressed out, or I felt like I have to.
Oh, absolutely, because there's videos like, I should make a video about this. I was like, so am I going to be like the a-hole on the internet complaining about whatever? It's like, okay, get in line, but yeah, it's like,
yeah, you don't like.
Do I want to be the complaining internet guy?
And I try not to. I try not to do anything too obvious, because I feel like anything like that can be really short-lived too. If it's like too topical, then it goes away fast.
Right.
If it's like, too on point, if it's like everybody's talking about the election, I'm not going to talk about the election. Like, somebody messaged me the other day and was like, I really like how not political you are. And it's like, well, I have opinions. I'm just not putting them out into, it's like, you guys don't need to know that.
Yeah. I'm an adult, and I know I don't have to put out, everything in my personal life. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm friends with a lot of comedians, and those are not people who typically do that. So it's like, there's plenty of other people out there doing that all the time. And I don't feel like it, because I don't want to alienate anybody based on what they think. Like unless you have, real abhorrent things, but.
And that's typically on this. It's like usually politics, and for the most part, politics is pretty much just off limits, just because, like you said, everybody's got their opinions, and frankly, no one's going to change. Very rarely are you going to change someone's political or religious opinions off of a post. So, like, what's the point?
No, you're just going to like.
Scott's post changed my life.
Yeah, I made you think something else. No, it's so silly. It's like, all it's going to do is get a lot of likes from people who already thought what you think. And like,
correct.
I don't need that.
Or piss off the people that, that it's like, okay, you're making one side happy or the other side hates you. It's like, no thanks.
I don't really want to do that. And I kind of would rather my page be a place that everybody feels comfortable being there. And like, if somebody gets political on something that I post, I'd be damn surprised, because I don't post anything that, have that, but I'd probably delete it, because I don't want you to talk about politics on a post about my wife or video games or mountain biking or something.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah, so let's get into the inner politics of mountain biking. Yeah.
those people, you have no those. That's a fierce community, and I
Not to
have
be trifled with.
no, but I have snuck my way into it, and I appreciate them very much.
Yeah, your videos are fun. That's good. When did you start being a comedian?
I started doing stand up in well, it takes a long time to become pretty okay at it.
Yeah. Well, let's rephrase it. When did you consider yourself an actual comedian?
I started in 2009 is when I started, and I would say that I felt comfortable telling people I was a stand-up comedian probably like 6 years later.
Wow.
I don't know, like it just takes a long time to like hone it, and like people always say like you don't have your voice for a while, and I didn't understand what that was until I did it for 15 years, and then I understood, because I swear probably like part of the reason that Instagram took off is because the last 2 years or so I felt like I finally came into my own as far as like who I wanted to present on stage all the time. So but yeah, so 15 years total, but it's only been good for like hit or miss 7 or 6 of those. Maybe it's been pretty good the last 2.
Well, and anybody who knows, everybody knows being a comedian's easy, right? Especially those first shows.
Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. I cried in my car.
Wow.
I would go do a show, and I would have such a bad time, and I would get in my car and burst into tears and drive home. Just like, because I really wanted it to work.
We'll see you. As you're crying, you're like, we'll see you Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah.
What brought you back? Like, why? I mean, if you're going through that, why? Like, what drew you to keep going?
There's like that one. It's that little. There's this feeling you can't replicate, where you make everybody laugh. It's like, and it was just enough to be. It just gets you. Like, my friend Rick always is like, comedy is like, you'll get off stage and he's like, oh, it's like comedy's like the good heroin. It's like, you know, and if you do it right, if you have that, it's like you're chasing the dragon all the time. You're just like, oh, I gotta get back to that moment where I had everybody laughing and it felt nice. And like, I guess for me, it was like when I discovered stand up, it was like I figured out something that made me feel like a whole person, kind of. So I was just like obsessed with, you know, following it to whatever end there was. And that's why. So I would cry. I quit a couple times, and then I kept coming back. So it was just like, well, there's that feeling, you know, and like when you're making all these people laugh at you, and it's like feels so good. And I'm kind of like, outside of it, I'm a quiet person, you know. I'm kind of like the guy on the side in the room who's not talking to anybody. But when I'm on stage, I'm like in control, and it just
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it just felt amazing, you know, and like, so I was addicted to that feeling. And like, also it's an amazing like escape. It's like an amazing creative outlet for me, you know, as somebody who kind of is constantly imagining and thinking about life and stuff. It's just like, it's great to get on stage and just have a room that has to listen to all my crap.
It's a bit of a therapy session all built into one.
Yeah, like, but it can be, but you can't be too therapy about it, or else the crowd is sad. But you can be a little therapy. Like, there's some people who are too therapy, and it's depressing to watch them. But like, you can throw in a little bit. Like, audiences can tell when you're actually sad about something. So, like, there's topics I've never been able to talk about because they can tell I'm not processing it right, or I'm not ready. They're like,
this is not a joke, people. Yeah.
So there's like major life events that I've tried to talk about on stage, and now audiences shut it down right away. They're like, "No, we're not following you on this."
Yeah.
No, thank you, sir. You've made the whole room awkward.
Yeah, it's okay. I lost my mom 25 years ago, and I have not found a way to make that funny in a way that an audience doesn't immediately want to hug me.
No, and I'm very similar. I lost my mom when I was young too, and it was just like, there's no ha to that.
There's no funny way to be like, I was just becoming an adult and this happened. There's no way to twist it. So
Nope.
I've tried. It doesn't. So I just give up after a while. I'm like,
no dead mom material.
Yeah, the audience thinks my mom is alive. That is fine.
Yes.
Yes. That's also the awkward. It's like, most people just kind of assume your mom's. You're like, nope, sorry.
Yeah.
Do we want to go into that? No, okay.
Mother's Day is always weird, but
yeah,
that's a rough one, but
yeah. Well, it's like people are always like, "What are you guys doing?" I'm like, nothing.
But nope, just Sunday. Sorry.
Yeah, we're just busy. Just another day. But yeah, so it's. But I guess I keep doing it because I keep chasing that that rush, that feeling, that like that moment that you can't quite describe and get anywhere else. So
I've always admired comedians. I write. I think both you guys know that, and I love writing comedy. And if I give someone something and they read it and they laugh, it's not the same as a room full of people, but I kind of live for those moments as well. I never had the gumption to actually stand up, on a stage. I think I would just stand up there and cry.
Yeah, I would shake for a long time.
Yeah,
like I'd bring the mic up to my hand and it'd be like,
yep,
like waving. But I think what? Honestly, I've done other forms. Like I've written and I've written greeting cards.
Really?
And wow. That's a thing I've done over the years, and it's not quite the same, but when I see when I hear that people have gotten them, as birthday presents, with birthday stuff, it's almost close, just to know that you've impacted somebody in that way.
Yeah.
And it's, not dissimilar at all.
Like connecting with people.
Laughter is you disarm people, and it's like a connection. It's a very special thing when you connect with people on a humorous level. It takes down a lot of walls, and they're just you get a connection that's very, I don't know, deeper than a lot of other things. So I think, it's humor in all forms it's really special to me.
Yeah, sure. I think I can, people say I'm funny or whatever. I'm not on comedian level, so I'm always trying to be the funny guy or whatever. But you probably run into the same thing. Do you ever have to dial it back for not everything needs to be a joke, or and not always have to be joking?
Yes. I try to keep it pretty, I have a day job and I keep it pretty not funny there. They find out though, they find, because I'm on the internet, so they find out, and then it's well, I guess I'll just be an idiot here too.
Well, do they know you do stand up? I mean, because you go out to clubs and do stand up, not just the internet. Yeah,
I'm around. So people, they figure it out. I just started a new position, and I didn't tell them anything because I just thought it would be more fun that way. Also, but slowly but surely, people have been I'll show up at the office and somebody will come up to me and they'll be like, "So I saw your face on a poster," or "I heard your voice on my wife's phone talking about something." I'm yeah.
What's that all about? Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I typically I feel a lot of Yeah, I keep it pretty. I dial it back a lot, unless I, you know, unless I'm comfortable or the people know me or know that I do it, and then it's like, okay, I'll just be the way I am. But I can go into a place and be the shy person, and no one would ever imagine that I'm a person who gets on stage in front of lots of people and talks for an hour and, you know, makes people laugh. It's like sometimes I think it's like a secret superpower being a comedian, because I can
cool.
I can let you know sometimes, like if I want to, I can turn it on, but I can also just be just a quiet introvert at the same time.
That's a superpower.
Yeah, it works, but it's, you know, I think it's good to keep some things under your, you know, under your coat and just like not let everybody in on it all the time.
Yeah.
Although in the internet age, everybody, I mean, knows everything.
I was just about to say, it's almost like it's not a total open book, but you got plenty of chapters open for most of the world. So
Yeah, right. And that's just like the way things work now. It's like everybody's on all the time, and you kind of get rewarded for doing it, but then you kind of lose your anonymity, and that's like a hard thing. Because like I'll walk down the street in Seattle and people will yell at me now.
No way.
Yeah, and which is funny, and they're all nice, but it's like I'm like, oh, I remember a time when I could leave the house and not be worried that someone was going to shout about an internet thing I did.
Is that Turnip right there?
Oh, Turnip.
Hey, Turnip.
She doesn't. I've been doing podcasts this week, and she's not happy about it.
My dog was just very much like, "Hey, what are you doing? Why aren't you out petting me right now?" Yeah.
Yeah. But she's so needy.
You're talking about anonymity. With Night of the Chihuahuas, I literally wear a trench coat and I flash people, but instead of my naked body, it's just covers of Night of the Chihuahuas, and I'm hoping that they'll buy one.
Yeah, please.
It works very well.
Well, I've been arrested 4 times.
You know what's funny is like I got your email today, and I was like, oh, you know what's funny is we only ever talk when we talk online. It just says Night of the Chihuahuas. So
yeah.
When I saw your name, I was like, oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, people have names.
not just internet handles. Yeah.
Well, it's weird because like I know a lot of people online, and like I have my name because like as a stand-up it would be weird not to, but most people don't. So everyone else I know by their handle, and I'm like, what do you think their real name is?
If I was an individual artist, like, or just represented myself as a writer, I'd probably just have my name. But since we're like an entity, you know, I try to promote it that way.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And also, people can't Google you and figure out where you live or whatever.
Not yet. we have an accountant who files our LLC, and everything goes to their house. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
I should do that.
It's a good idea.
I don't think there's not good parking out here. Nobody's going to come visit me. It's okay.
Not worth it. Do you live in like central Seattle, or?
I live south. I live a little south of Seattle, between Seattle and the airport. It's a beautiful. It's not a beautiful. It's where I grew up, which is kind of crusty. It's like kind of a crusty area, but I love it.
I'd say Detroit. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little rough, but I like that, and it's like what I grew up around. And we got a cute place here, and the neighbors are cool, and like you only hear guns every once in a while.
Yeah.
So it's fine. And
keeps things spicy.
Yeah, it informs you. You end up with a very interesting worldview when you grow up around danger.
Yes.
Well,
So
one of my favorite things right now is it's hunting season in Michigan. So, and where I live now, we're up in the thumb. So, like, we live in a city, but just like you go 5 minutes outside, it's country, and everybody's like, "What's with the gunshots?" Be like, "It's hunting season." calm down, or you knew, like, it's like,
I joke out here. I'm like, if you hear guns out here, it's usually because a sports team won. So it's like not necessarily dangerous, but it's it's like, oh, you got to keep track, like the Seahawks are playing or something, because you're gonna hear guns.
right.
And like I got used to it. But yeah, it's like it's not bad. It's called Burien. It's like it's a suburb of Seattle, and it's very diverse and blue collar and crusty, and I enjoy it. There's a lot of dive bars, and
I like that crusty, like that adjective.
yeah, interesting locals. It's like a real locals play. Like you go into a bar and people want to know where you're from and why you're there. Like they're very...
It sounds very Midwest.
Yeah, well, I joke about they're very like they want to know like where'd you grow up? Are you from here? Where'd you go to high school? They're like very much like how local are you? Everybody's trying to like out local you when you go.
Oh god. Oh my gosh. So I moved up to where I live now. I've been up here like going on 20 years now. But one of the things I did notice is like how to prove how Port Huron you are is whatever a thing, like whatever a store was, however iterations you can name before what it was. Like if you can go back like 4 or 5 iterations, do you remember when it was this? Do you remember what's that? I was like, no, I haven't been here. Like I just got here.
That's so funny. That's how it is here. I'm like, that was a J.C. Penney. There was a store called out here. There was a store called Lamont's, which was like a clothing store. And if you remember the Lamont's, then you are like an OG Burien person.
You checked a lot of boxes that you can say, yeah, that you're cool. Yeah.
Yeah. If I talk to somebody and I say, do you remember the Bartell drugs? Like I'm immediately considered part of the local scene because they know
gang signs and yeah.
But people get feisty. I have a Burien tattoo, and we were at a bar a while ago, and this lady was like, "Are you visiting from out of town?" And I like rolled up my sleeve, and I was like,
"No." You gotta flash the tattoo out.
I was like, "No, I've been here. I just don't drink here very often." But it's a funny thing. I love it though. I love a small, like my grandparents are from way up north in Washington, like logging country, and it's like the same thing. I love a small town. I love a spicy local giving me a hard time. Maybe that's why comedy. I work fine with stand up because I don't get too stressed out about people. But yeah, Port Huron, is that what you said?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So if we're right, I'll do the complete Michigan thing. So if you look, we're right here. Yeah. So we're right in the thumb knuckle, and if you look at the international map, right where Michigan and Canada almost touch, that's where we're at.
Okay.
So there's a giant bridge connecting the two countries right there. So.
Oh, is there really?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's two. There's one, this Blue Water Bridge, and then down to Detroit's the Ambassador Bridge. The Ambassador Bridge, like, gets in the movies and stuff. So.
Okay. What is Detroit like? Is it like all the news outlets say? Is it as bad?
No, and it's so funny because so since the Lions are doing well, they're always in the news. And on one of the football podcasts, the guy had just the perfect saying for how people like the Detroiters feel. Like, it's nothing personal. We hate everybody because we have so many chips on our shoulders because, and kind of not getting political, but it was like, they were trying to get people to say something about Detroit. I was like, if you make fun of Detroit, you will lose Michigan no matter what, because Detroiters are so, like, just so defensive about their city, but they take so much pride in it. They take so much pride in their city because we know the reputation, and it's just one of those. Yeah. But and we're well aware, but it's kind of very simple. It's blue collar.
I like that.
And it's very much just we take a great pride in our city because we obviously the auto industry, and then even before the auto industry, we were one of the biggest logging places in the country,
Okay.
and it was just Detroit's over 300 years old. It's well older than the country, so
That's cool.
And that's the thing people don't realize. All they see is all the and that's the frustrating thing because see some of these posts from people who are, oh, what's the worst city in the country? It's like, oh, Detroit. Be like, you ever been to Detroit? They're like, well, no. And then people come to Michigan and they're like, this is awesome. This is not terrible. It's like, no, like now don't get me wrong. Like when I had my job, I had a rule because I have a theory. No crime happens before noon in Detroit. So if I go to Detroit first and do my stops,
you leave.
then I get out of there before the bad elements wake up.
That's
but
funny.
like we used to go when we were younger before the Tigers were okay in the early 2000s. Like it was so cool because a 7:00 game, you could go like it's 6:30. Let's go to a Tigers game and like just walk in and get like really good. And then one time we were leaving. And we made a bet. We made a wrong turn, and I swear it was like something straight out of like an early '90s rap video, where all these cars are lined up and everything, and we're like, "Oh Lord!" Like, and this was before cell phones and GPS, so you couldn't like GPS your way out of there. And this big dude walks up to us. He's like, "You guys are in the wrong neighborhood." We're like, "Yes, sir, we certainly are. So any assistance from you would be great." He's like, go up here, turn left, right, get back on the freeway. Thank you, sir. You have a good evening. And but it's the big thing with Detroit, like, respect Detroit, or it may not end well for you. So,
when I was growing up, I would before GPS, I took a wrong exit into the neighborhood where I live now, and I thought I was in a bad.
And now I live here.
Now I have a house here. But I remember like getting lost and ending up in the I live by South Park as a neighborhood down here, and I was like, oh no, where have I been?
This is the bad part. Yeah,
this is not the good part of town. Now I live off that exit. I'm like,
yes.
Well, and it's funny you say that because like I where I live now, like kind of had like the not best reputation. Move up here, I was like, we're surrounded by water. Like what is everybody's problem? Yeah. It's because it's very isolation. No one kind of gets out of town because where we're at, we're about an hour north of Detroit. So like there, the city, for Port Huron people, Detroit is the city. And then you go north of Port Huron, and then the town for them is Port Huron. And you realize people don't really go and actually get to the city very often. So they think like the rumor was our city was like, it's like little Detroit. I was like, you've never been to Detroit, have you? It's like, if you think this is Detroit, I was like, you need to go visit Detroit more often because this is definitely not Detroit.
That's funny. That's funny. People always talk about, a lot of people talk about Seattle, and they're like, oh, Seattle's horrible or whatever. And that makes me laugh. I'm like, yeah, there's probably a couple streets I wouldn't recommend you walk down, but there's
right.
It's not like a bad place.
Well, and that's people are like, oh, Detroit. I was like, look, you give me a town and I'll give you a bad area. It's like it's ridiculous.
If someone tells me Seattle's bad, I just know that they haven't been to Philly.
Have you heard of Chicago?
Have you been to an East Coast city?
Because when I was younger, I used to go. My mom would kind of send me off to my grandma and aunt in Chicago. My aunt was in Chicago. She was part of the police department. And the first time I'd ever seen a gun was we were going down a neighborhood. She knew it was a bad neighborhood. She's like, hand me my purse, please. I was like, okay. And she takes out her gun, sticks it underneath her leg. She's like, just in case, because I know where I'm at. And I know this is where, and it's, look straight ahead. Do not look around.
God. That's scary. I was driving through Seattle a couple months ago, late at night, and I drove past a place, and a guy was running down the street with a gun.
That was actually me. I was promoting that with the Chihuahuas. Go well for it.
It's like, it was so weird. I was like, where?
I've never heard anything bad about Seattle. I think I had told you before. My wife, her great grandpa was one of like the initial Chinese settlers there.
Yeah, this museum.
Yeah, they have a museum up there for him.
Yeah,
but every time I hear about it, I never hear anything bad about Seattle. It's just like great
it's
food, awesome stuff to do. Like
it's not. I love it, but it's like, I don't know. There's a subset of people who have bad things to say about it, but I don't think it's a bad town. You know? It's pretty. It's mountains and water, and it's like, it's cool. But just like everywhere else, everywhere has a couple blocks you shouldn't go down, and that might make you uncomfortable. But
yeah, I've got a friend that lives by me. She lived in Seattle for a while, and she's like, I moved back there in a heartbeat. So
yeah,
or may not Seattle, but Washington in general.
Yeah, it's like record stores and coffee shops. It's not like the most scary area, And like economic downturn always makes things a little less ideal, but it's super fun. I wouldn't, as a comic, people are always like, "Are you going to move to New York or LA?" And it's like, no, I'm gonna
why?
Yeah.
And you do what, snowboarding and mountain biking, kind of. So that's your stuff you do when you're not making people laugh.
When I'm not making videos of my face, I usually.
Just make a video.
There's not a video of your face, and you tell them what section of the country you're from.
Yeah. Oh my God. People make fun of me. My friends all make fun of me for that. It's very funny. They're always like, "I heard you're from the Pacific Northwest."
I said you got to get a shirt. And I'll get a shirt from you. Says I'm from the Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
I'm getting beanie. I'm gonna get beanies made that have a patch
perfect.
on them that say, "I live in the Pacific Northwest."
I'll have to get one, even though I'll rebel and wear it here in the desert. And
do it. It's funny. I never meant to be. Also, people are like, "You're the beanie guy," and it's just because like I cut my hair recently, but I had grown my hair out and it got too messy, and I didn't want to cut it, so I just started wearing hats all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, and then became the brand or something. I don't know, but
you have to fight. You have to fight Tim Pool for that.
Oh my God! Oh my God! A friend. I went out with a friend's sister who was in our peer group the other day, and she goes, it was like warm, and she's like, "Are you wearing that hat like Tim Pool kind of thing?" I was like, "No, I have hair." And
I know. I'm just lazy with full head of hair.
I just don't want to brush it or whatever. But yeah, when I'm not making videos talking about where I live, I mountain bike and make videos about that occasionally, and snowboard, which I haven't turned into content yet because I'm trying not to bastardize everything I do.
I mean, you haven't given us videos from the bathroom yet, so that's good.
I could. I need to put a line somewhere, where I don't content my whole life away. But it's like, it's funny. I actually mountain biking, like I made so many videos locally that when I go ride locally, people know me now, and they will be like, "You're Scott." I'm like, "Oh, damn it."
There goes your anonymity.
Yeah, and they watch you, and you have to like try to be better than you are because people are watching you.
Do you get a crowd sometimes, or not a crowd, but like a few people, like while you're trying to make content, and they're sitting there watching you make content, and then there's that like, oh,
no,
like on average, how many takes does it sometimes take you to get what you want?
A lot, but I also I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I'll like make a video. I'll make a reel that's like a minute long, and it'll take me to an hour just to constantly doing things.
Well, dude, that's like I said. My background was in video, and I used to work for the school district I graduated from for like 12 years. And like, you'd always have like teachers coming to you and be like, "I just want to make a short video. It's just 5 minutes, no problem." I was like, "Whatever you think it is, if it's 5 minutes, transfer that to hours. That's how long it's going to take for production, and then take that and then times it by 10. That's how long it's going to take to edit and do everything for you." So
yeah, I made a video the other day at a mountain biking. I had to make. It took me like an hour. It took me like 2 hours to get all the clips I wanted, and multiple takes of the clips. And then I had to put it in an editor, and then I had to decide what order I want the clips in, and then I have to decide whether I want to make some of them short for comedic purposes, and like how I want to make things. And
yep.
It ends up being like, it's work.
I was going to ask you what your preferred platform is, because YouTube, like, people say, "Oh, YouTubers, like, it's hard." I was like, have you ever tried to make like a video and make consistent content? Like, dude, that's a grind. YouTube is an absolute grind, and I give credit to any YouTubers who can kind of do that on a regular basis.
I used to put a lot of stuff on YouTube, and then like I joke that like my content took off on old people platforms. So like Instagram and Facebook are my bread and butter. So I'm like, well, I'll just focus on that. But like as it's gone on, I've had to start using editing software.
What's your platform that you like?
If I use my phone, I'll just use like CapCut or something like that. It's like a good mobile. But then I use like Adobe Resolve. Is that the one? Like
DaVinci is Resolve.
Yeah.
I made the switch to DaVinci a few years ago from Adobe. So
yeah,
DaVinci. I love Resolve.
Yeah, my friend Luke, who's a stand-up too, uses DaVinci, and he's like, you should use that. And it's like, it's probably a little more than I need, but it does everything. So like, that's
I compare the editing systems to like DaVinci's like, if you're gonna do like a project around your house, it'll give you all the tools you need and everything. Adobe's like a Lowe's, where it's so robust, where it's just too much.
Yeah, and I think like part of the charm is that things aren't overproduced. So like I try to keep things still looking kind of gross to a point. But like,
that's
yeah.
I was just say making videos. Like I did video production for a while and film production, and I would get real technical. And my friend, mentor, he's a graffiti artist. He's like, no one cares about how good it looks anymore. Like, you just make a short video, put it up, and then people will laugh, and then that's all you need.
They don't care. And like I joke about that. I was joking with somebody about that in the mountain bike community. A lot of those guys use like really nice cameras, and they make really clean looking stuff.
Yeah, they got the red cameras and all that.
Yeah, and I'm like out there just shooting with my Pixel phone.
That's so true, because I've sent videos where I'm like, it'll be super clean, super tight, like a very well edited video, like 5 views. Like you said, I got some program on my phone. I'll hack something together, 10,000. I'm like, what's that?
Yes.
Table flip. It's like, what the heck?
I made a video. I made a video a couple of months ago, and I just was like at a brewery, just staring at my phone, and and it was the most popular video ever. And I was like, this is nothing. Like, the internet doesn't make sense, but you don't get rewarded for making pretty things.
I want to get a shirt that says that.
Yeah, you don't get rewarded for quality. That's for sure.
No, they actually like, because I've edited video. Like I snowboard with my nephew, and I've edited video of him that's like really nice looking, and people just don't absorb things the same. They're like, well, it's too like professional looking.
Right. Yeah. The turnoff is it's too nice. It's like, well, the hell are we doing here with these? Like a red camera's $25,000. Like,
yeah,
and that's for a base model.
Yeah, like I have a night, like everything's 8K 60 frames per second, and they don't like it. because that's not what people want to look at on their phone, you know?
Yeah. And that was the thing, because I with my computer, I invested in the editing software, but as far as cameras, like with especially back in the day, like to get a video camera, you're talking 5-10 grand,
Yeah.
and then DSLRs were the hotness for a few years, and then everybody's like, my phone shoots better video, and it comes out. It looks, it's already rate ratioed. It's already basically color graded. It's like,
and my phone shoots 4K now. Like I don't need.
Yeah. It shoots 4K, so everybody can watch it 480 on their phone.
Yes. Yeah. It does not matter. They're gonna they don't care. It's gonna get compressed and it's gonna look like crap, but it doesn't.
Right.
People, and I have to. Yeah. It's weird too. You have to shoot everything in portrait now. And
that was one of the things I had to switch my settings to the 1080p, and I was like, no, I need the 1080 on this side, and then
yeah. Nobody watches horizontal video at all, and that sucks. You need it for some things. It's nice to have a wide frame, so you have to capture everything in this tiny rectangle. It sucks, but yeah, I'm really I love gear, and I'm really into cameras and photography and stuff, but it doesn't help you.
Nope. And I really like, because Da Vinci's owned by Blackmagic, and Blackmagic makes really good, really cost-effective cameras, but it's you spend $1,500 on a camera, or do you spend the $1,000 phone that you've already got in your pocket?
Yes. Yeah.
Or do you get a drone to follow you everywhere now? And
like that video I sent you. I sent Nate a video. I was like, I'm so happy, because we're all kind of the same age, where we didn't have drones back in the day, when we were kids, because there was this drone that had Roman candles he was clearly chasing his friend, fired Roman candles, and one cracked the guy right in the back of the head. I was just like,
that's funny. They have a new drone now, a new DJI that'll just follow you around, and I thought about buying it, but
it might be fun for mountain biking. I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
For that, absolutely.
I thought about that, but then part of the funny thing about mountain bike content is I never show myself riding the mountain bike, so it's I never. I know it bothers people, so I'm never gonna do it. I don't think.
Yeah, you know what you should do is you should recreate the scene from Napoleon Dynamite where he's got that little jump in front of his house.
Yes,
you can just check along and boop.
Yeah, I have there was a clip I made where I ride over a gravel pile, and that's all I show. People were like, "What the hell?"
And some guy with a mustache throws a steak in your face. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. But it's I love it's funny. I love cameras, but yeah, I just have this Android that has a nice, takes just as good pictures.
I've got 3 DSLRs. I've got a 5D Mark II. I've got a Canon 60D. And I think these are all great cameras, great lenses, and they're just sitting in the closet collecting dust right now. Although shooting light, what is it called? Where you can move light photography at night.
Yeah, light
painting. Painting with the 60D at night is really cool. I took my kids out to a military base in San Francisco or in Oakland, and we had lightsabers, and we did these big fights, and it was awesome. But anyways, yeah.
That's so cool. I was collecting cameras for a while, and I always wanted. Yeah, I love Canon full frame. I like old Canon full frames, and I was really obsessed. I wanted to be I thought about trying to become a photographer for a while, and I was shooting some weddings, and it was the most stressful thing I'd ever done, and I will never do it again.
Yes. 100%, because almost every videographer that I know, one of their first gigs once they graduated, shooting weddings, and I did the same. And I'm sitting there, I was like, I had so many I hope a battery doesn't fail. And this was back in the day when shooting on mini DVs or something. That's like, what if you get a bad tape? Like,
Yeah.
you've just ruined, so much stuff. I'm just like,
yeah, I'm going through like photos and I'm
God.
like, that has a soft focus. That's not good. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, I ruined their wedding photos.
Yep.
Angry wife coming after you.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
like,
you get the bridezillas and yeah.
When I did a friend's wedding and I probably took like 1,200 photos because I was just like, I'm just gonna take so many pictures.
Just run the video and just take screenshots of the video.
Well, then I just sat there on my computer one night for like 6 hours, just going through every single picture that's like just barely a frame off, and just like picture, because I was like, well, I'll for sure get something good if I just constantly take pictures.
Yeah.
But, oh God,
I made so many mistakes like early on shooting weddings, which is one of the reasons I don't like. One of the first weddings I shot for a buddy of mine, and his sister, her name was Jennifer, and so I thought everybody spelled Jenny the same way. As it turns out, they don't. And I was like, Jenny, Jenny. She's like, I use Jeni. I was like, who the hell does that besides you? Like, and it was like,
oh no,
and just stuff like that. Like, that needs to be fixed. I was like, okay, my fault, And I had a shout at another friend of mine where he spelled his name like with one extra L, and it's like, I'm not doing this. I can't do this, man.
It was awful. I was like, everybody was having fun except me.
Well, that's the thing, because there's a big fat difference when you're a friend, but then you're a friend who's charging someone.
Yes.
That's a different thing. And I was just like, oh God, I was like, no, thanks. Because I turned down a lot of work because my friend is getting married and can you shoot? I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, thank you.
Yeah, I sold my lens. I sold my wedding lens. I sold all that stuff. I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
My friend shot our wedding for free, but he got hammered. So
oh no!
All is fair. I mean, the shots of before the reception started were fantastic.
That's so funny. I had my wife come with me and I gave her her own camera, and she's not really a photographer, and I just put it on auto and I was like, just shoot, just point and shoot. Right. You're going to get something I don't have. And it turned out perfectly, actually. She got all these photos that I was like, oh, mine's a little soft, and she had perfect frame photos. I was like, why did I bother? Why didn't I just shoot auto the whole time?
Yeah, I'm a professional. Whatever. Oh, never mind. Damn it.
I know I have friends who photograph, and they'll come to comedy shows and they'll hand me their camera, and I'm like, I immediately put it into aperture priority or something. I'm like, I'm not messing with manual. I'm not doing it. Like this. No.
Well, and that was like, because I tried to start a video business with a friend of mine, and it was I think just pre-COVID. And I was like, no, we're going to shoot, I was like, we're not showing up with freaking iPhones. Like that's just unacceptable.
No.
And he but now I'm like, F it. Shoot with my phone. I don't care. Like,
yeah.
It's so weird.
Fine. Yeah.
It's so weird. But
I've given up. I'm just, whatever. It looks ridiculous, but you know what? It looks great anyway. So
yeah. Way better.
It's just as good as like anything else. It's crazy. I mean, I have like GoPros and stuff, and I think they do marginally better, but just barely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, everybody's just gonna look down their phone anyway, so
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's like it's just something to mount on something that doesn't matter. Like, and I was actually just gonna get a gimbal for my phone this year and just shoot with my phone. But it's I snowboard and mountain bike, and that's, what else do I do? That's it. I do stand up.
You have any like nerdy stuff you do? Do you like watch shows or read comics? Or
I watch a lot of Twitch streaming stuff, actually. I like to build. I was talking to my friend Mike. He's like, you should he's like, you never talk about the things you like to do on Instagram. Like, I'm like, yeah, well, people don't want to know what I think about like building a PC and all, and like.
You think Legos are bad because that's basically what I equated when I was building my computer. It's basically like a step up from Legos.
That's what my wife
point.
said. I told her I was building a computer, and she's like, "You're not building anything. You're just plugging it together."
Yes, but they're very expensive.
I was like, "Yeah, but that costs a lot of money."
Right.
So,
Yeah,
so
if I bend one of these stupid pins on this CPU, we're all screwed.
what do you watch on Twitch?
I watch.
Are you a gamer or like
Yeah,
secret gamer?
I watch gaming stuff. I watch like.
Are you a gamer?
Yeah, I have a lot of PC games. I like to play video games.
But you don't let people know who you are, so they don't harass you.
Yeah. I was playing. I don't like playing co-op that much because there's something about playing with people online that freaks me out.
I tried early on, like early PS2, like online gaming, and it was the worst experience. I was like, never again. I was like, I'm getting my ass handed to me by some 12-year-old in Sweden talking about my mother.
Yeah, I started playing Helldivers 2 when that came out. It was super popular, and I just couldn't. What happens is like people immediately play it more than I do and get better than me, and I'm just like the worst person on your team.
Yeah, because I'm the 40 some odd year old guy. I was like, I have 40 minutes, guys. Like,
yeah, I can't
that's what
do
I've
this
got
all night. I'm popping on to play for 1 or 2 rounds, and then I gotta go. So like,
I was like, my wife's getting up in 20 minutes, guys. Like that's how much time I got.
So I don't play I play single player stuff mostly because like co-op just. Unless I have a friend who's also in their 40s who's online, and we can both play it. Like, I'm not gonna play co-op. But
what do you play? You said the Helldivers, and what else?
I've always been obsessed with like RPG stuff. I played a lot of Final Fantasy. I was really into. I think Sony has crazy good games. I was really into Horizon Zero Dawn is a series that I play where you're like it's like a warrior who fights robot dinosaurs, and
I'm in.
It's great.
It sounds awesome.
It's so good. You do that for like 80 hours, and it's got like a really interesting story. Like, but yeah, and like I always have had a PlayStation ever since I was young. I've always bought a PlayStation, and I was really into like what are those games? I was really into Shadow of the Colossus. I don't know if you ever played that game.
That sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. My favorite game ever was Star Wars Battlefront 2. I love that.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Because I always loved like you could do like an open map and you could do 999 versus 999 and just play for whatever however long it is. I love that.
I have a very extensive Steam library of games that I've never touched, but I have bought.
That sounds like my Audible account.
Yeah,
I buy all these very smart sounding books that I've never listened to.
I do that too. But I'm like, my Steam library is huge because I'm like, I'm gonna play that for sure, and I never play the game. But
that's on sale. That's on sale.
It's too easy, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm really into video games. I'm really into computer stuff. I've always loved. Like, I got into building right before COVID, right before all the parts got scarce, so I was able to put together a gaming PC, and now I'm looking at upgrading that.
That's about where I'm at. My PC needs not a total overhaul, but definitely an updating.
Yeah, and I mean I should probably do the CPU and the GPU, but I don't know. Then it starts to get up there, and I'm like, well, should I just buy a new console?
That'd be like, which GPU? Like, is it the one that is just the last gen that's still really, really good still, or the brand new one that's like $2,000?
Yeah, and I can still make mine will still do 1080. I'm old. I don't care if it's 1080p. Like, you know.
Yep.
I don't care. Like, if it's 1080p medium, I'm super fine with that on a video game. Like I don't, but you know, it's all incremental. But yeah, so I'm like into that. I don't know. Like growing up, I was really into sci-fi stuff. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure I was really into like Red Dwarf growing up.
Okay.
Which is like a sci-fi British sci-fi show.
Is that the Simon Pegg show?
Yeah, it's like, who's in it? I'll send it to you. But it's like super nerdy sci-fi, campy stuff.
It's British sci-fi, yeah.
Yeah, it's British sci-fi, so it's like really dorky. Like,
that's what my son got into Doctor Who there for a while.
Nice.
when they revamped it when they came out. You know, Christopher Eccleston and Matt Smith.
They do that brand of humor and sci-fi so well. Like it's just like they're so good at it. It's just like making
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter that the Dalek's a garbage can with a plunger and a whisk, but it still all works.
Yeah, it's fun, you know. But yeah, I've always been into kind of nerdy stuff and like fantasy stuff and computers and things I never talk about on the internet because it doesn't fit.
We're gonna market this as Scott's hidden life exposed.
Yeah, you want me? I'll talk to you about ray tracing all you want. And like, what I think about AMD.
Yeah, AMD versus Intel. Go. That won't cause any internet controversy.
Oh my God, people! I do not want to get involved in that. People would be mad.
And that's why when I said I was like, I run AMD. I don't care.
Yeah, I like AMD. I am AMD all the way, and I prefer it. I just like.
Yeah.
I like what they do. I like the price point. I run Ryzen processors, so it all works together. And
that's why I was like, it's like throwing a souped up V8 in there. Like I don't care how much gas mileage I get. I just need the power. I want the speed and power. I don't care if it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, it plays all of my 1080p video games just fine. Like, I don't need
and edits all my 720p videos for the internet just fine.
Yeah, it doesn't overheat or anything. But it's
well, as long as you don't run Google Chrome, right?
That's right. Mine was like, oh yeah, mine's dying. Sometimes mine does die, but it's funny. But my wife. I was trying to tell my wife, I was like, I'm building this computer, and she was like, it doesn't look like you're building anything. And I was like, but I had to put, snap.
I did it, not someone else. Just went.
Yeah,
clicked,
me. I put it in there. I had to like route the cables.
Right. Yeah, you got to make the cable management look good.
That's such a ridiculous thing, but like, because I'm looking at my computer now and you can't tell where the cables are because we spent so much time making sure that it winds like around things and like.
Yeah, I did all that, and then it sits underneath my desk, and no one can see it anyway. So.
It's
but
like
you're proud about it. You've accomplished this thing.
Yeah, as a video guy, I cable manage well.
You got it. Like I'm obsessed with that. I'm just like, you got to make it look nice that way, just for you.
Yep.
Right.
But yeah, it's I love it. It's fun. It's like a fun hobby. It's a fun thing to get into, and it's maddening because you have to like. The building part is easy, but you have to like understand how everything works together, or else things don't work right at all.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can have the best graphics card and processor in the planet, but if you don't have the right power, it's like okay.
Yeah, over the years, like ever since I was a child, I was like the computer person for the family. So I'm like, oh, it's not working right. I guess I'll see what's not playing good together, and I'll troubleshoot this, and I'll look at the BIOS, and I'll do all that. But yeah, it's not thrilling for the internet to know that I enjoy that. But yeah, computers have always been interesting.
And do you overclock?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll spend hours trying to figure out the right clock for the card, and it'll shut down and restart.
That's why I was like, I don't want it to explode, so we'll stay within the parameters. Thank you.
No, I did it like when I first got this one. I just sat there one night just for hours, just like running tests, having it having it shut down and just do it over and over again. And then I finally gave up, and I was like, "What am I doing? I'm just gonna
Yes.
just gonna run at the normal speed." But like
how close can I keep my hand to the flame before I burn myself? Yeah.
how fast can I run the fans?
I did the same. I downloaded some app that told me how many RPMs my fan was. I was like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
just turn on. That's what I need you to do.
I remember I got like when I first got my PC, I got like a power bill, and I was like, what happened? And I realized it was because I was running the PC.
Right.
I was like, geez, what did I do? But it's like, sometimes it's super loud. And I bought like the nice fans that I can't see. Like,
yeah. The RGB ones, yeah.
Yeah, I got these stupid fans, and they're just in a black box, and you can't tell that but you can hear them. They're loud as hell. But yeah, I'm somewhat, I'm pretty obsessed with computers, and it's definitely a part of my geekdom that I don't really explore a lot online. It's either that.
I found it's something I should not explore, or else I get myself in trouble.
So. Yeah, my Amazon cart is like really stupid right now. It's not necessary, but it's like, I'm like, well, if I'm gonna get the new GPU, I should probably upgrade the processor so it doesn't bottleneck, and then I gotta get better. I'm just end up buying everything new and throwing it inside of the case or something. But also, like, when I think about what I use the computer for most of the time, it's like just looking at Chrome or something.
Right. Yeah, it's I would say like 1% editing, 99% YouTube. So
yes, I have in my living room I have 2 TVs, and I have and because we did it during like COVID, we had a TV, like I'd work out here and I'd have a TV for whatever, then a TV for work. So now I have like a YouTube TV, so I'll just have like something playing while I work on the other TV. But while I learn something about history or something. That's another thing. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of TV, but I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube history.
I'm probably about 95% of my entertainment comes from YouTube now.
Yeah, like it's uncanny. Like I don't watch any TV, I don't think, really, but it's all YouTube stuff.
Yeah, definitely not network. I got my streaming apps, but for the most part, like, and now you get to a point where you get the YouTubers you follow be like, oh, it's Wednesday at 4:00, like such and such is starting up a stream, like let's go.
Yeah, I do that now, and I maintain weird hours to a certain degree. Like I'll go to bed early and get up really early, so I'm like, I have certain people who are on, at those times, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll I'll watch that stream while I'm doing something else, But but it's great. Like YouTube's just got so much different stuff. Like I can watch like a video about bikes, and then I can watch an hour video about Mormons, and I can watch like whatever. I just I'm just kind of like, we live in the golden age of educating yourself about things you don't need to know.
Yes.
Right.
Misinformation and conspiracy theories.
Yeah, you can do all of that.
Yes.
You can watch a lot of flat Earth videos if you feel like.
Oh yeah, and that's the crazy thing. I talk about algorithms. Be like, oh boy, you're like, you go down a rabbit hole. Be like, I didn't even know, and now your entire feed is just that.
I break mine sometimes. I don't know if you have that experience, like where all of a sudden it'll start suggesting horrible things that I don't want to watch. Because I'll watch something on a whim, and then all of a sudden it's like a week of suggestions that are just not things that you would ever think.
Oh, that's why like my normal Instagram page, I'm avoiding now because there's so many things like, oh, that looks like an interesting, and that's girl with half almost naked.
Yes.
And then next thing you know, your whole feed. I'm like, well,
I've had that
fantastic.
happen. I had that happen too, or it's like you're like, oh, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
Like
what's that? It's just like, oh, God, what? Yeah.
Like, oh no, I stayed on that 1 second too long, and now Instagram thinks that's what I want to see every time.
Yep. And,
Like,
and the Instagram algorithm is so hard. That's hard to break because and that's why I was like, because I have a separate page for, my personal stuff and a separate page for this stuff. And I'm just like, I honestly, and I tell Nate, don't send me stuff on the personal stuff because I won't see it for a while because I rarely check it now.
yeah, it's bad. I'll stop. I don't use it as much because there's sometimes when I mess it up too much, and there's nothing fun to look at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's, I was like, I just need to avoid this entire app right now. So.
Yeah, I try to get off of it. I'm like, one of the reasons I don't use YouTube for like for business is that it's like the one place that I haven't broken it, and I also don't want to have to worry about notifications and likes. So like
Right.
YouTube's like the only safe social media I have where I haven't messed it up too much.
So, but Nate, I think it's a pretty good spot to wrap it up. Unless you have anything else you want to ask.
No, I do gotta get rolling myself. The family is waiting for me. So,
All right,
Scott,
thank you for coming.
I think it was you have some dates coming up. You want to talk about those real quick?
Yes, I'll be. I am doing a show locally at the bar down the street from my house on December 14th.
Do you have to show your tattoo to get in?
Yeah, you got to show. You have to have a Berian tattoo to get into it. But it sounds ridiculous, but it's almost sold out, so it's gonna be a pretty good time.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm doing that, and then I'm in next week. I'm in Spokane, Washington, hotbed of stand-up comedy at Spokane Comedy Club. So that'll be good. And then I'm always on the internet. I'm always there, and I answer most DMs, even weird ones.
Well, it was a lot of fun, man. Thanks for coming on, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you in the future. So
yeah, for sure. It was nice to talk to you guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, man.
All right, thanks. Night, guys.
Bye.
Night.
Bye.
So, all right, thanks, Scott, so much. Go check him out on Instagram, and great guy. So, but we're gonna wrap it up here. So, if you want to check out what we're talking about, and when we do shows, we don't do shows that often, but we got to get back to it.
Yes.
Maybe that'll be our New Year's resolution to actually do more things. So,
yes,
check us out on Facebook and Instagram. We also have an X account that I don't do much with, but once again, we're gonna get that going as well. And once again, if you have not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, that'd be great. It helps a lot. So, Nate, anything else you want to say?
Nope. Have a great holiday if we don't see you soon.
Yeah, happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, and hope you spend a lot of time with your family. And that being said, good night, America.